business report on the Abia Business Morning. I'm in Umuahia, and of course, earlier today on Opening Bell, we talked about, the Abia State Government converting Government House into a five-star hotel and all the intrigue, subterfuge, and everything that has to do with the issue. Why are they doing it? What is wrong with the Government House? Why do we have two government houses at the moment? Why were they saying one was rented? Why is one uninhabitable? Why will one be a hotel and why will one be recommissioned as the government house? And why is the governor currently operating from his house? So many questions to be answered, and who better than to do it than straight from Abia State? We have Chief Gabriel Emperor Ogbonna. He's a lawyer and human rights activist, and he joins us now. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Chief Emperor. Can you?
Yeah, good morning. How is everybody there?
Good morning. We're fine. Good to have you on. So let me start with the big question. What is the reaction of, the business community and Abians in general to the fact that Governor Oti wants to turn the new government house to a five-star hotel?
Yeah, it is one of mixed reaction. Some people feel it is good. Some people feel it is not good. Many people have the opinion that government is a continuum, and that if one government does something, then another government has a duty to complete it and finish it off. That's what many people think. Some people say no, that the new government has the power to set up its own the way it wants, to plan itself the way it wants, what it wants. So, at least look at them, both are right. Abia State government is one. The government has been there since the creation of Abia State. And if every new government wants to dismantle what another government did, in the end there will be no development. But nevertheless, my opinion is that one, the Abia State government is correct in what they want to do. They want to change it to a five-star hotel. It's a good thing. According to the government of Abia State, they are saying that that place is not safe. That the building is a high-rise building, and that it is not safe for a governor to live there. That somebody who wants to assassinate the governor can be in one house close to that place and shoot a gun, and the gun will kill the governor. What they are saying is that there are some other residential buildings that are within that territory, which makes it unsafe for a governor to live there. That's what the Abia State government is saying, the current government is saying. But the other one, people are saying no, that place is actually built with Abia State money. 175 million naira was spent in building that edifice. And that edifice is not so bad that the new government should be there. But let me tell you what I think. What I think is that, this current government does not really like the former government. And they don't want to have anything to do with the former government. So generally, they want to be on their own. They feel that home is not where they want to go. And secondly, Alex Oti's government, Alex Oti prefers his house. Alex Oti prefers his house. He wants to stay in his house and run. As I'm talking to you now, his house, Mr. Langwa, is the government house. That is where he has been staying to run his government ever since it was the government started. He does not have the idea to go to anywhere to stay. So mark what I'm telling you today. The governor wants to say, if you have gone to his house, these are two big buildings. There's a place where he stays, and the place he built as a conference center. That place is a conference center is where he stays and receives visitors. So he wants to continue remaining there. That is the truth. So anything is like giving a dog a bad name to hang it. He doesn't want the government house. But if he had wanted a government house, he would have fixed it. He could have revoked the CFO of some people who are there, or he could have made some town planning rules as to security of them, or there can be bulletproof doors and windows. But nevertheless, there are always ways upon which you can turn it around. If you look at Umuahia, where the old government house was, there are still houses around here. And there was no plan to kill anybody. Nobody was assassinated. The old government house, there are still houses around that place. So it is not an excuse to say that the new government house is unsafe. If the governor wants to fix the new government house, he can do it. It's a matter of bringing us some little money and fixing it and making it to the best he wants. But what I know about the new government is that Alex Oti wants to stay in his house. He stays in his house to run the government, and others appears not to be complaining. So he just wants that status quo to be maintained. That's what I think of that.
That's a point you raised about him wanting to remain in his house. But there are two issues. One, which you have mentioned, the fact that the new government house, unlike the other one, is a bit of a high-rise building. So, it's easier to, see somebody up than somebody who's not in a high-rise building. Secondly, they've actually said that the old government house is where they are going to restructure as government house. The issue there had been that there was a claim that it was being rented, but we've heard counter claims that it was actually not rented. It belongs to the Abia State Government. It has always belonged to them since 1991. In fact, the contractor from 1991, Chibu Bioma, who said he was involved in building and furnishing of the chapel by the then military administrator, said that, it had been used since, even before Abia State, when there was the old Imo State. So my question now is, since Governor Alex Otti has said, look, we are going to just, build up the old government house to taste, and this new government house, they are saying it was shoddily constructed, there was nothing inside. In fact, Commissioner for Information, Okekanu, took the media on a tour to show that, except the first floor, nothing was there. The elevators were not installed, and like you mentioned, the risk of buildings too close to it. Now, the government has said that instead of wasting money doing that, they would rather pay pensioners and other things and concession the building to those who would turn it to a hotel. They are talking to people already. Is it not better for business in Abia if they bring in a private person, concession it to a 5-star hotel, make use of the old government house, because now they have 2 government houses, make use of the old government house, make that a 5-star hotel, create jobs, create IGR, and maybe boost tourism in Abia State?
Yes, well, you have a point. The fact remains that it's not that it is not too high. I think it's a 3-story building. Okay. It's a 3-story building, so it's not too high. But the fact remains that every government has the right to make decisions for itself. Okay, see, as a governor, in his own wisdom, decided to build the government house. He built it where he built it. Now, unless what he's saying, I don't like this government house. Actually, that government house, in all honesty, looks more like a dormitory than the government house. The structure is not so beautiful. It's more like a dormitory. So, and as I know, the Alex Otti's government feels that they can't stay in that place. So to me, instead of wasting the building, because somebody was even talking about demolition, instead of wasting the building, it's a good thing that they want to turn it to a 5-star hotel. It's still useful to Nabia. It's still useful to all of us if it's turned to a 5-star hotel. So the best thing is this, apart from playing politics, because everybody knows that Otti prefers to stay in his house. Let them turn it to a 5-star hotel. Let it yield money for Niger State, and then finally let Alex Otti build his own government house. The era of staying in your house to run a government is not good. It's not good at all. This is not a private government. This is a government of Abia State people. I think the best thing is this. Since the government sees that place is unsafe, the location is not good, and that the structure is not so strong, that all of them have not been fixed, let the government of Abia State build a new government house in a place where they think ought to be where the government house should be, and let them turn it to a 5-star hotel, and let them be diligent in it. It is not all about propaganda, because we have spent 2 years without using that house for anything. As I'm talking to you now, this is 2 years. That government, these governments have not used that house for anything, and the house is depreciating. So the best thing is to, as speedily as possible, commence the process of the government house of the hotel you want to turn it to, and then build a befitting government house for Nabia. It is not right that you turn your private house at City Alangwa, where people come and visit you, where state functions are being done. It's not right. Even Donald Trump, despite how rich Donald Trump is, I've been to America. I saw Trump Tower in New York. That place is an edifice. Yes, unless Donald Trump lives in the White House, it is not right for Donald Trump to turn his residence in Florida or anywhere or California, whatever he's living, and turn it to the government house, to the White House. It is not right. We must learn how to learn from these advanced democracies. If Donald Trump, despite how rich he is, left his house, I think in Florida or California, where he's living, and moved out to Washington, D.C., and is living at the White House, why wouldn't our governor leave his mansion, which he has at City Alangwa, and move to Umuahia, where he ought to be? That is the right thing to be done. We must insist on people doing the right thing. So having said that, since the government of the state wants to turn that place to a 5-star hotel, it is really right. Actually, they don't like the former government and the policy of the former government is not favor them. Let them commence construction of the five-star hotel and put the logistics that will call the five-star hotel, and then let the governor commence building a government house. Do you know what thing? Do you know that Abia State Government was paying rent for the former government house? Former government house is a leased place. It's a place where rent has been paid. As I'm talking to you now, every year in the budget for Abia State, a big amount of money is apportioned for the payment of rent of the old government house. Until Abia started saying, why should we be? Why should we be paying money for government house? In the end, okay, see, Basu had to build this one, and now let's say he don't like it. Let him build a government house that's befitting, so that Ajas can have a thing of pride. It is not right to turn your house, your private house, to a government house. It is not. It's not done anywhere. So that's it.
Bro, I agree with your point of private residence being not being government house. I remember some years ago I was working in Oyo State, and the governor then, Governor Ajimobi, stayed in his personal house at Oluyole, never slept one night in government house in Agodi, and there was uproar throughout that time. But with regards to the old government house, the Alex Oti government has said that old government house is what they are going to remodel, renovate as the new government house, because according to them, that place was not rented. That place belongs to the Abia State Government. It belonged to the old Imo State Government and was ceded to Abia, and that the Ikpazu administration committed fraud and were paying themselves rent from government coffers. In fact, June last year, a contractor, Chief Obioma, who said he was one of those that the then military administrator in 1991 agreed should be among those, was even given the contract to build and furnish the chapel of government house, said that whoever was collecting rent was being fraudulent, because they themselves had worked on it and known that building had belonged to Abia State since Abia State was created in 1991. So the OT government has said they are also going to look for how this rent fraud was carried out, and because that building belongs to Abia State Government, they are not even going to get a new property. That old government house is where the new government house would be.
Okay, is that what they are saying? The impression given by government all these years was that is a rented premises. If they are not saying that it is no longer a rented premises, it's a good thing from that year. Now, having said that, nothing wrong with the new government of Alex Oti fixing that old government house. They can fix it, they can knock it down and build something better. But what I'm just saying is that if they are saying that it's no longer rented, because the story we have been hearing, but let me tell you this, so we have to also be sure about this thing, because we have been seeing in the budget that rent has to be paid there. So does that mean that all these governments, all the successive governments in Abia State have been telling lies to us?
That's what Governor Oti is saying. Governor Oti is saying that the past governments committed fraud and have been paying themselves the rent because the building was always property of Abia State, and they are even investigating it right now.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's a good thing. So now it is so. It's said that it's sure that somebody was defrauding us. Let the new government go to the old government house, knock it down, build a good edifice, and let it be to the benefit of Abians. To me, it's a good thing that they are thinking across they're moving across the board, outside the box. Let them now fix the old government house so that it can be befitting, and let them use the new one for hotels. No problem. But what I'm just saying is that the era of a governor using his own private home to be receiving visitors to turn it to a state house should be over. We have over. No matter how rich you are as an individual, when you become a governor, you are a governor. Your private life. Okay, let me tell you. How do we maintain? You know, Abia State government collects 5.something billion to maintain government house, to maintain the office of governor. 5.something billion to maintain and to run and to control the office of governor. Our budget is there. The Abia State government collects billions of naira to maintain the office of governor. So part of this is fixing the house where they live in. Would the governor be using Abia State money to be fixing his house when he needs to fix or maintain the office of governor? I hope that's what I'm saying. So it is good that if you are collecting 5.something billion or any amount of money to run the office of governor, That office should be maintained in a building owned by Abia State, not a private building. So no matter how you look at it, it's a no-no for me that the governor should be staying in his private house. Let him not go to that old government house. Bishop Jama is telling you all those things. Let him not go to the old government house and let them fix it, since he doesn't want to stay in the new government house. What if he goes there and fix it, and when he fixes it, he will stay there for the rest of the tenure and govern that to be in his house. Then it's a good thing that we now have what do you call it, the new house, which should be used as a five-star hotel. It's a good thing. We need revenue in Abia State. We need a place where people can go and relax. But five-star hotel is not easy to come by. You, I hope you know. And I wonder how many five-star hotels you have in Nigeria.
Well,
I hope you know. Five-star hotel is not easy to come by. Most of our hotels here is three-star hotels.
They are saying that they are saying that they are going to get an international hotel chain to run it. It's not going to be government run. But I want to ask a question, because you raised a very valid point, which is that in Abia State budget, there is funding for running government house. And wherever the government resides should be a public building that belongs to Abia and is accessible to all Abians.
Yes.
What is the state legislature doing? So check this thing. That why is the governor in a private residence? You know, even if it's a temporary building that is owned by government, that the government should use as an office, even if he doesn't want to sleep there. Why is the state assembly not doing anything about making sure that the executive is operating from a building owned by the state government?
See, let me be honest with you. The crop of legislators we have in Abia State today, I will score them less than 5%. Let me be honest with you. In those days, we have legislators that would hold the government accountable. When this government started, we had some of them were in Labour Party, some were in PDP, some were in YPP, some were in APC. As I'm talking to you now, all the YPP House of Assembly members have become to Labour Party. The PDP members are also the captain of Labour Party. The PDP member in Ibere has become to Labour Party. All of them are the captain to Labour Party. And as I'm talking to you now, you don't even hear about them. If we have any House of Assembly in Abia State, let me be honest with you, most Abians don't know about it. The House of Assembly in Abia State is so docile, they are not doing anything. In fact, people are accusing Ababio of being a rubber stamp. Let me be honest with you. Rubber stamp is the one in Abia State. Even talking. In Abia State, we don't hear about the speaker. We don't hear about the House of Reps and the House of Assembly members. We don't hear about them. The only time we hear about them is that when the government is going to do something, you see them coming out. So the truth is that we don't have an Abia State local government and Abia State House of Assembly members that are responsible in any way. They're just there. I don't know what they're doing. And let me tell you the truth. This is politics. I ran for the election. I ran for House of Assembly election in Abba Central. But let me tell you, the governor himself picked up those he wanted to be members of the House of Assembly. He picked up loyalists, his own loyalists. And luckily for him, he won in most of them. Now, those in PDP, many of them, they are not even talking. Those in YPP, I run under YPP. The two YPP guys have become to Labour. The PDP members, some of them have become to, two PDP members have become to Labour. So when the governor is controlling the entire house, what do you expect? And you all know the policies that played out in Abia State during the election. During the election, it was a matter of, during the election, it was more like a matter of PDP having the majority in the house. But in the end, the election was done. The Labour Party man became the speaker. Despite the fact that PDP had the majority. And even the majority leader is from Labour Party, which is not supposed to be so. The PDP has the majority, they also have the majority leader, but the majority leader in the House of Assembly, it came from Labour Party. That is not, that's the minority. So, it happened that the Abia State government is totally gripping the House of Assembly of Abia State in its hands fully. There is no breathing space. I'm telling you the truth, I know. And let me say that nothing the government is doing, you know, which is also good though, this one is good. In those days, we are used to members of the House of Assembly being so rich, driving big cars and living big. But the Abia State today, the governor has been able to reduce the amount of money they earn. He pays them their salaries and maybe 1 or 2 money. But they are not tremendously rich the way members of the House of Assembly used to be. And you know you need money to to fight government. You cannot fight government when you don't have money. So somewhat, the Abia State Government have been able to cripple most of these House of Assembly members financially, that they totally depend on the governor for stipends. I'm telling you the truth because they are my friends. I was a part of them. I am telling the truth. So what I'm saying is that right now, we don't have a House of Assembly that have that financial muscle to go against the governor. So whatever the governor says is the way. Governor promises them car, they were happy. They are happy when they are promising a car. Governor promises to give them anything, they are happy. And because of that, you see that because of impunity, they have become quiet. So it is the way the government is going is clearly the governor is in control of the House of Assembly, of the executive. The only area I don't know why it's in control is the judiciary. But for the executive and the House of Assembly, the House of Governor of Abia State is in control. And that is why he knows what he wants. Nobody challenges him. Nobody challenges him. That is the way it is. So we don't have an Abia State House of Assembly that can question the governor on the issue of where you are ruling from. If you go there, you see them. All of them are there. Go there, you see them. They are all there. Waiting on the governor, discussing, laughing. They're all there. They will do nothing. So the government house, the House of Assembly in this Isialangwa, is where most of these House of Assembly members they're always there. So if the man is always staying in my house, and if he talks nonsense, I will ban him from entering my house. What to make him to talk nonsense? What to make him to talk nonsense? You don't understand where I'm going. So when you're reading about the House of Assembly, the House of Assembly like the state is an extension of the government house in
we'll have to discuss this separation of powers in detail another day because it seems to be a very hot topic and we've run out of time. But I have to ask you this question. Just very quick answer before we go. What do you think Governor Oti should call the 5-star hotel?
What do I think about what?
What do you think the name of the 5-star hotel should be?
Well, I don't know. Everybody, as I said, Adam must be there. Maybe Abia Hope, Abia Noah, or maybe
I have a different name for it. I was thinking, because of who built it, we should call it Okezie Ekazu Towers.
Yes.
That's what I think.
You're like Okezie Towers, Okezie Laja. But let me say this before I go. This is not the first time the governor is promising to turn a place to a 5-star hotel. There is a place called Eniba Hotel. You can build Aba.
Yeah,
Eniba Hotel is close to Waterside in Aba. The governor came there and dropped away the hoodlums there and said he was going to turn that place to a 5-star hotel. Up to now, that place is still almost the same way it is. So this is not the first time the governor promises to turn a place to a 5-star hotel. So I am pleading with him. Since he has made up his mind to turn that place to a 5-star hotel, let him be speedy about it. And let him also come to any hotel and start work immediately. Let the work be commencing fully. So that place will turn to a 5-star hotel too. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emperor. Thank you so much for being here. We will still have this discussion on separation of powers, particularly on the effect of business policy in Abia State. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. Chief Emperor Bona, thank you so much for being here this morning. And that's all we can take on the Eastern Business Report. But Abia Business Morning is not yet over. The market picking is ready to take you to meet the traders, see the products. How market comes up right after this, so stay tuned. This is still DSTV channel 254, Go TV 17, and of course 748 on Free TV. Till I see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. for another edition of the Business Morning. I'm Nnamdi Abaya saying have a very profitable day.